And we're live. Here we go.
Well, hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I believe you just came from a closing.
I did just come from a closing. You know what? It kind of made my day. This morning was real rough. But I was like, you know what? 10 a.m. closing, they'll be better in no time.
There you go. There you go. I wrote something that I thought you might actually like today.
Is it something sweet about me?
No,
Is it
no.
at least data?
It is, man, you know what? Actually, today I do not have data, but
That's actually surprising based on the article you sent me earlier.
very surprising, very surprising. I'm a little off my game just slightly, but I did write something. So, and I thought you would appreciate it.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, here we go. Here we are, March Madness. I'm not talking about basketball brackets. I'm talking about life brackets because March is here. The air is shifting. The days are stretching because, our clocks are going forward this weekend. If you didn't know, just a reminder. And across the country, people are filling out brackets, hoping their team survives and advances, right? In a couple of weeks. But let me ask you something. What if this spring, the bracket that matters most isn't what's on your TV? It's the one tied to your pre-approval. March
Ooh.
Madness is unpredictable. Underdogs win, favorites fall. One possession can change everything. And spring home by season, it's no different. Multiple offers, bidding wars, clock running, emotions high. One decision, good or bad, can determine whether you're cutting down the nets or watching someone else move into the house you thought was yours. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. In March Madness, talent helps, but preparation wins. The teams that's still dancing in April didn't just show up hoping, they showed up conditioned, scouting reports studied, plays practice, free throws rehearsed. And yet every spring I see buyers step onto the court of real estate with no game plan, no conditioning, no pre-approval, just vibes. Hope is not a financing strategy. Scrolling listings is not preparation. If you want the keys by this summer, you better be tournament ready in March. And that's why we're talking today.
You want feedback?
Yeah, bring it.
I think you missed so many opportunities to rhyme.
Oh my goodness.
I thought you were gonna hit a couple rhymes there, and I was like, oh, that'll. Oh no, that doesn't rhyme. But other than that, good
Hilarious.
information. Like, yeah, I mean, missed
Hilarious.
opportunity. Didn't you have like a temporary rap career or something?
No, I'm not DJ
Wasn't
Rap.
that you
I'm not
wanted to be
mixed
a
rap a
rapper?
lot. No.
Not mix
No,
rap a lot. Get out of
man.
here.
Sir Mix-a-Lot. I'm not Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah, I mean, you
I
could have
did
been
hear
you.
Q-Tip on the car this morning. I was like, oh man.
Oh, nice.
I was like, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously March is here. I'm always excited when March comes because that means I can get a Shamrock Shake from McDonald's. I always get one a year. Can't wait. Haven't done it yet. But definitely, I thought it was a great time for us to do this over again, kind of part due. And let's talk about getting pre-approved. And you know, I figured let's put the floor to be yours today, and really walk us through just the whole experience with the family that you helped today.
Oh, that family was honestly an anomaly. So closing went great. The entire process was smooth because I worked with my favorite realtor. So like, we're great. We're a dynamic duo. Um, but this particular couple, they got me documents in less than an hour anytime I asked for them. So it was different. It was different. It was I oh just wish they were all like that. But
Were they
this
first-time home
couple,
buyers?
no, they were actually, and that was the interesting part of the whole transaction, right? Because they were selling their house and buying their new primary all at the same time. So
Mm,
those transactions, they can be a little tricky because there's so many moving parts. You've got, yourself, and then you've got the people buying your house and the people selling you their house, right? So that's three different sets of humans. If it's just one,
emotions.
right? Yeah, like lots of emotions, three different realtor offices. Like it can be a lot.
It can
Um,
be.
yeah, it can be a lot, but um I'm pretty sure within the next 2 hours, we're going to see a nice 5-star review on the Epic Mortgage page.
We always like to see those.
We love them. We love them.
What did they
Um,
like about you?
what didn't they like about me? Come on now. Come on. My
Can
top
we
tier,
talk?
my top
Can
tier customer service, my knowledge, the way I fought an underwriter to the death and won. Like, you know,
those are the intangibles, right? Those are the things that most buyers don't recognize that we have to deal with. We have to deal with underwriters. Sometimes underwriters don't see it the way we see it, and we've structured the deal with your experience, your knowledge. You have to fight
no,
and win.
sometimes, you got to slay a dragon. Um, but like, on the front end of things, they are homeowners, right? But nobody's ever taken the time to explain the numbers the way they're supposed, like, right? Nobody's ever taken the time to say, okay, here's how you read a LE, a loan estimate. Here's how you read a CD, a closing disclosure. And because your loan officer is a trainer, here's a job aid so you can reference it later.
You threw out the job aid.
Listen, I love making people job aids. That way they don't ask me the same questions 5 times. But also, it's just easier, right? If you can read it and have it there. So no, it was really smooth. They were very grateful. It was a great closing. They brought their kid. He was cute. He was pretty awesome actually. I'm glad he was there. Because there's not a whole lot for a lot of loan officers don't go to their closings. Um, and I can't say that I go to every one. Um, but when the schedule permits and the buyer and I have had a really good rapport, I love going to them.
Yeah, obviously the pandemic, we always wanted to make a point that we had someone at the closing. I think it's important, just for, just hey, you've been through this journey together, and it's such a monumental, stage in someone's life to buy their first home, especially. Yeah, I think it is important. We're trying to work on that now to make sure we can make sure that someone's there. It's not always conducive because these schedules just pop up out of nowhere. You get the clear, and then they just schedule when it's convenient. It's like, wait, I can't make it that time, man. So it's a different dynamic.
What I found that it's also like depending on the lender and how the process went, sometimes I want to be home at my computer while that's going on. Like I'll have the realtor in my ear, but I want to make sure because sometimes we don't get the wire until it's time to sit down at the closing table. So like I need to be able to, slay dragons from my desk if need be.
Understood. Yeah, I always tell people, like, you want me behind these three computer screens right here. This is where you
Right.
want me. This is where I'm most effective. Me sitting there, sitting in the back of the room with my head down in the phone, staring at every email and refreshing my screen over and over again. You don't want to see that.
I was literally on my iPad trying to find the latest happy hour I could find tonight because I knew everything. I knew everything was good to go. Closing was at 10. The wire went out at 9:32. Right now, this was a different title company. I've never closed with this title company before.
Mhm.
Um, no complaints.
No
Um,
complaints.
yeah.
But you
So
do have a first-time home buyer, I think, this Friday, right?
I do have a first time home buyer this Friday.
Let's talk
And
about
we
that one.
Oh boy. So we have been working together for the better part of 4 years now. That's right. So,
4 years.
but everybody gets stuff together at their own pace, right? So this particular home buyer, this is really a celebratory thing for her because she just adopted a little girl and she's like, I need to buy her a house.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's really cool that the adoption and the the closing are all happening within 60 days of each other.
that's awesome.
Now that did cause a little bit of a problem in underwriting because of those checks, but I got it figured out, right? All good. Um, there was some there was some kind of hiccup with that one too.
More about the appraisal.
Yes, it was the whole appraisal thing, which again, we won, right?
We did.
We won.
Pictures.
Yep, we saved the borrower money, we saved the borrower time. Um, her car got charged and it was like, nope, we don't need this. They reversed it. It's all good. So yeah, that was all cleaned up. But I'm very excited about that one. And the realtor on that one is someone that I've known for the last 10, what year is it? 20, just over 10 years.
Wow.
I trained him back at, a lender that we worked at, and we've just been, friends ever since. He is one of, actually, I brought him up before. He is one of my favorite kind of realtors because he purposely worked in the lending space, like, and not just like as a loan officer, but he wanted to work in operations, and he worked every stage of the loan, so he knew what was going on.
Mm,
And then he did a little bit of a sales job, um, probably for about a year because he was trying to sharpen his skills. But the goal the whole time was for him to be a realtor, but he wanted to be a realtor that could set itself apart.
got
Because
it.
when you know the lending end, it's just a lot easier on everybody.
Yeah, sometimes I've seen the best person has been a lender first, and maybe they transition over to the realtor.
Right.
It's very hard to be a realtor and then transition to the mortgage because it's a different animal.
It is a different animal. I also think that like, so before becoming, do I keep getting brighter? Before becoming a loan
Don't
officer,
start.
I think it'd be real cool to, like, no, I don't think it'd be cool. I know it's cool to be a processor. Like a loan officer who has been a processor, easiest time, you know.
Prerequisite. A
Yeah,
prerequisite position gives you a little bit of an inside track on how things are needing to be done, what you need to do, and then you can kind of take it from there. Because underwriting is important. I want to go back to that 4-year mark that you said with your first time home buyer, because I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that I think we all go through when we're dealing with buyers. She said 4 years ago that she was ready.
hmm.
Somewhere, I'm ready. I'm ready, Jess. But why does it take 4 years? Can you let the audience know why?
So sometimes it is okay. So if your financial profile does not meet, lending standards, it can take a while to get that cleaned up. Now, this particular borrower, could we have gotten her into something down and dirty 4 years ago? Sure. Was I going to do that? No. We all know I'm the ethical loan officer, right? I'm not going to put anybody in something that is going to possibly financially ruin them. But we did a lot of credit coaching. We did a lot of finance coaching. And then we talked a lot about the process, right? Expectations. So when it comes to the financial end of it, like, that's the thing I cannot control. I can't control how you spend your money. I've got another borrower that I'm working with right now, and I think it's going to go over a year. Um, he's very excited about this particular house that these people are being very patient about holding on to for him. And so we're working with credit. And that has been a little bit of an uphill battle, but at the same time, he's very responsive and he does what I tell him to do when I tell him to do it, because that's the rule, right? Credit is a timing thing. You can't procrastinate. But every time his score goes up, he says, Jess, can we do it now? Can we do it now? And the answer is no, because the problem isn't necessarily just the credit, it's the debt to income ratio. And I can't control how fast he can pay off his debt.
Right.
Right? And if he pays off the debt, the score goes up, everything kind of aligns. But that's the one thing I can't do. Now, I will help you make a budget for sure. Like, I do that with my clients all the time. Like, just review their assets because I have to look at them for approval anyway. Um, but then, like, if I see that I've got some clients that are like, hey, you're kind of living outside of your means, but based on what you make and what you have saved, it's very unnecessary, which just tells me you're not organized. And so then I'll organize them.
Yeah. No, it's so important because people will say I'm ready and they're not ready. Sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it's like you said, credit is the first, kind of hiccup. Okay, where's your credit stand? I got a client right now, and based on her credit, she's kind of in that FHA world and she wants to
Hmm.
buy a condo. And she's struggling right now because we can't find an FHA approved condo, within the Chicagoland area on where she wants to live.
Yeah.
And so, we're kind of like, okay, what are we going to do? Either you're going to change the type of property that you're interested in, potentially looking at a small single family house. No,
Right.
no, no. I want a condo. I don't want to do the maintenance, right? I don't want to shovel.
She
I
don't
don't
want
want to.
to. Why do people don't even get me started on condos?
Come on.
I had this conversation this week, actually. It was a former loan officer, but she was a loan officer at a bank, right? So that's
Mhm.
very different than being a loan officer for a lender or brokerage. Um, and I said, okay, so let's talk about it. She says, well, there's this condo I want. And I said, no, you don't. And I'm going to talk you out of that condo before the end of this phone call. And she
Mm.
was like, okay. So, right, here's my thing with condos that people just don't think about, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. You have to do your own maintenance. It's not an apartment. You own it,
You
right?
don't have
Like
to
that's,
shovel.
oh, you don't have to shovel. What is that HOA fee, right? So
$298.
exactly, like that's in the HO. So one, you have to do your own maintenance. People think that it's like an apartment. It's not, right? You own it. It's yours. It breaks. You got to fix it. Um, the grass in the snow. That is the thing. And people are like, I don't want to cut my grass. I don't want to shovel the snow. Okay, but you'd rather pay $300 a month in HOA fees, buy a single family house and pay a guy $50 to shovel your snow,
It'd be cheaper.
right?
That's
But
funny. I never
much
thought about it
cheaper.
like that. That's
Yeah, and
funny.
then you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to share walls with someone, and all it takes is one idiot to do something stupid and burn the whole complex down. We just had one a couple months ago here in where I live in Southfield. It went ablaze. 14 units gone.
Wow.
And these are not like wealthy people where it was like just okay, right? Um then you got to think about condo insurance. Condo insurance is so much more expensive than single family insurance. And
What?
right? And
Only
then
in
people have
Michigan.
to
Only in Michigan.
only in Michigan, okay.
It's $600 here in Chicago
600.
a year.
Ew. Oh, for real? For
50
walls in or
months.
studs out?
Just walls in.
Oh, see, and that's another thing they got to learn about walls in, studs out. And
That's
then,
the difference.
like, let's say the condo complex, right? And we're talking about an attached condo.
Hmm.
Let's say that it needs a new roof. Okay, well, everybody's paying for that,
Right.
right? And then we live in a country where there are very, very few laws around HOAs. Very few laws around HOA. So you can start off with an HO fee of $50 a month, and then the next year they be $150 a
To the
month,
moon. Yep. To the
right?
moon.
It doesn't like so then that's your payment, right? That's
Right.
something you can't predict. So oh, like I have never condos are just not my thing.
I'm
Like
with
I
you.
see the
I'm with
appeal,
you.
but
Yeah, I mean, generally 55 and over, right? Less
yeah,
maintenance, a divorcee, a widow with her cats, the cat lady. But anyway, the condo, but it is one of those things where you have to kind of make a decision. If you're pre-approved, my customer is pre-approved for a loan, but now she's focused on condos. And if there's not condos in her area that, because she needs the minimum down payment, so now
mhm,
it's like, what do? You got to pause. This is how the 4 years takes up. Hey,
right.
we're going to have to fix your credit. And what you said was, hey, I'm going to pay down these things so I can get my credit so I can go conventional. Okay, great. But now I just spent all my money and now I got to save up more time to
Hmm.
save up the assets so I have the money for the down payment. So that's how that 4 years can, hey, today I'm ready to buy. And then it's like, oh, I bought in 2029. It's like, dang, what took you so long? it's those items there. It's a really
Yeah.
strategy planning.
It is it very much has to be strategic. This is not a tactical type of transaction,
Yeah,
right? So it's definitely a long game, and like knowing what to do, how to prep. So I tell people all the time, even if they're like, "Oh, I might buy a house." Cool, call me. I'm not going to try and sell you on a pre-approval or talk you into buying a house, but I am going to show you how to get prepared to do it.
sure.
So that way when you do come back to me, it's an easy process.
Another issue, obviously, that we face in this marketplace is just inventory. Inventory is still low, relatively low. It's getting better, but it's still low overall. And you have to have the willingness to be able to move to different locations. So I just think about myself when I bought my recent house. It's not really in an area that I ever thought I would live in. It's not really ideally where I thought I'd ever raise a family per se.
Fancy?
But, huh?
Are you fancy?
I am a
Oh,
little,
I think you're a little fancy.
I could be,
I see it.
a little bit, but I had to adapt. I was in a very nice area, and
Hmm.
then I relocated, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't think I'd end up here," but it fit what I needed. It fit my budget. It fit what I needed, and then we do the do. So it's just one of those things that I think you have to be flexible.
Yeah.
In buying a house now, especially when inventory is low, you have to be willing to maybe go outside the pocket. That could also delay.
So that is something that happened with my borrower that's closing Friday as well. And like on one hand, it's like, oh, this process is taking forever. But on the other hand, I'm really glad that she didn't settle, right? This is a single mom, new kid, never been a homeowner, right? So there are
Mhm.
a whole lot of things that are going to pop up that you don't think about. Um, and when we started 4 years ago, it looked like we were going FHA, but she did a good job, worked up to conventional, asked questions along the way. Um, and originally she was going to do like one of those $25,000 down payment assistance. Now we own your soul.
Sure.
And it worked out that she didn't have to do that, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm excited for her.
I just saw a realtor that my first deal that we closed this year. No, not a real relationship with her, but she was promoting the brand new, $10,000 grant. Call me today. Let's get you pre-approved. And it's like you, I need a realtor to be a realtor and let the lender be the lender. You're dangling this $10,000 grant, but you're not. You got strings attached to that.
That's one of the
You got that second mortgage there, and
yeah,
you don't know. Well, and then if someone got mad and like, "Hey, this was a second mortgage," I didn't know. I'm a realtor.
right.
So it's like, are you really looking out for your client? Always, it's just like stay in your lane, stay in your lane. But
And
go ahead, go
they
ahead.
because if they like when the borrower's in that house, right, and they realize like this second mortgage or I'm trapped, they're not calling the realtor, they're calling us,
Facts.
you know?
Yeah. Let us do what we do. I had a question though. How
So
far in advance do you think people should prepare for a pre-approval? Like if someone's looking, hey, I want to buy in 2027. If someone said I want to buy next year, when should they start prepping and getting ready?
let's say somebody wants to buy Q1 of next year, right? So
Hmm.
we're talking, January through March. Um,
Is that
it kind
Q1?
of
Thank you. Thank you.
listen, that was for the audience, okay? You're not
Okay.
the only one here. Good grief, man. Um,
Man.
so they like gather my thoughts again. Good grief. So it kind of depends on what your financial profile looks like, right? So if we know you're a little debt heavy, maybe the credit score is a little low, that is call me in May. Let's get you prepped, right? Because we need that time, especially, with the hole being blown in the CFPB, we don't know how long it's going to take to fix those credit reports. Or like how much, depending on how much debt there is, you're going to need time to rebuild that savings, right? Or rebuild those reserves. But if it's somebody who's like you got healthy assets, decent credit, the good credit, um, even the good credit, the 720s, I'm like, call me a couple months early. Let's get that up to a 760 so you get the best pricing. Um, but ideal, right? Easy client if they want to buy Q1 next year, September.
Okay.
Yep. Just so we can look at the profile, go over what to expect, because closing costs are always, you know, they're more than what people anticipate. Um, which I'm very excited about my closing on Friday because me and my borrower were going over the CD yesterday, and it was like I in the beginning I quoted her 20 and it's down to 17, right? But I knew it was gonna drop. Now we're down to like 14
Whoa.
because I'm
Brr,
magical.
brr, brr.
Beep, 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 beep.
Man, you look like, man, you a gem when that you tell them this number and then it comes underneath like, oh man, how
Not
she
all
do that?
heroes wear capes.
Man, I like that. I like that. You didn't actually create that though. I've heard that before.
No. Also,
Yeah.
if I was a hero, I would not wear a cape. There's so much liability. Like,
Speaking of liability, because we did have one of our listeners actually email me yesterday, and I really appreciate that people are listening to us. I can't guarantee we can't guarantee any outcomes for anyone that's listening to us. I almost feel like I need to say that. You have to do your due diligence, especially if it's in a state that we can't help you in. We're giving you information that you can use and apply, but it's not 100% guaranteed that this will 100% work for you, depending on who you work with. We're only giving you our experiences and what we
hmm
can and cannot do. So I want to make sure that's clear because, I didn't expect that email, and I appreciate it because at least it let me know people are listening to us, and I do take responsibility in what I say. But, one thing I want to make clear is that you always have to do your own personal due diligence. It always depends. Every lender is a little bit different on who you
hmm
work with, just how they set up things. And we can always look for you. We can always be a second set of eyes. But without us being involved in the transaction, I can't 100% guarantee everything that the way I do things or the way Jess does things is going to be the same outcome because I don't
Right.
want people to have the wrong expectations. So I wanted to make sure that is clear because that was an interesting email. But what else? I know you had some stuff you wanted to talk about, and I want to make sure we hit it today because I know we went from part one.
Listen, man, you can pick one. You can pick the notes or you can pick the questions because we don't have time for both unless you're trying to do a part three.
We might, hey, I'm ready to go. I mean, this is important information. We do want to get people ready for the spring. I mean, spring is literally right around the corner. How many baseball games I'm seeing on TV nowadays? I was like, dang, and that's always the sign for me. Some people said, after Super Bowl, it's game time. But when I start seeing baseball on TV or I'm
That's
hearing
when you
about,
know.
oh man, I'm like, when I hear, oh yeah, the White Sox are in Arizona. Okay, it's about that time. When I start hearing opening day, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's that time. Sox are going to be better this year. I'm excited. So we might be 500 this year. Watch out, 81 and 81. I did have a question though. It said everyone says get pre-approved. What does that actually mean behind the curtain? What does the true pre-approval mean?
So there's a big difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. So a pre-approval is you've talked to a loan officer, right? You talked about the goals, how much you want to spend, your max ceiling. And then that loan officer has gotten some income and asset documentation, pulled credit, and run it through an underwriting system to get a thumbs up. A pre-qualification is pretty much you just telling a loan officer how much you make and how much you have saved, and then they're like, yeah, that should work. Here's a letter. That's horrible. Don't do the that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I hope that no one's doing that anymore.
No, that is still a thing. Like it's so much a thing that like I talk to a lot of realtors, like a lot of the like sellers realtors, they definitely don't mind calling. I've talked in the last year, I've talked to more sellers realtors than I have in the last, 16. Um so now I because they are they approved? Can you send
Mm.
me their documents? No, I'm not sending you their credit report. I'm not sending you their bank statements. What I will do is send you a snip of the underwriting findings so you can see they're approved. But no, I'm not giving you all my borrower's personal information. That's crazy.
Well, also credit report fees have increased, right? So when data costs more money, a lot of loan officers are making just business decisions of not really pulling all three credit scores. Some of them are doing soft pull credit scores and really living a dangerous life that they might be getting the wrong information, quoting the wrong things, and not executing the game plan. So
Oh,
it
for
is
sure.
a major thing that you got to know who you work with. I mean, obviously, you have to establish a trust and a relationship factor, someone you feel like can get the job done. You're going to lean on, I feel like for the most part, when you're a consumer, it's not like no one's asking me for my resume per se, right? No one's
Hmm.
really ever going to nmlsconsumer.org and, looking me up. I think primarily they're just looking at social media and trying to get a feel of, are there any Yelp reviews? Are there any Google
Right.
reviews? Are people happy with them? And can I find them on Facebook or LinkedIn? And let me see what people have said in the past, or who he's affiliated with. So I think really the credentials of loan officers, I would lean, on their social, on their
Yeah. Oh,
social
for sure.
platforms.
uh Socials, Google reviews. And you know what, I'm glad that you brought up the soft credit report thing. So I am working on some credit for a home buyer. I think she'll be ready in about a year. um and so I have a tri merge, right, meaning all three bureaus. And so her TransUnion and Equifax reports have 20 ish accounts, right? So TransUnion has 26 accounts on it. Her Equifax has 24 accounts on it, but her Experian has 44. So, the Experian is double the other two reports.
Hmm.
But how do you build a true approval off of that if you're only pulling soft credit and getting one?
That's true too. It's just a dangerous game that I see loan officers doing. I've heard it just through the grapevine, and I do caution, like, you really, from a consumer perspective, you don't really know what's behind the curtain, but you really have to do your due diligence and make sure you're working with someone that's got your back and looking out for you. But let's go ahead and tackle some of these questions. But first, Jess, how do I get a hold of you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at jford_consulting. I am going to put a link to all things Just Ford in the chat. Uh, Email, socials, website, phone number, anything you want to know about me pretty much is going to be in this link.
Super cool, super cool. And then obviously, we are this episode today is sponsored by Epic Mortgage. Whether you're buying, investing, or refinancing, call Epic today, 708-905-5300, 708-905-5300. It's your dreams, your goals. Let's plan together. Now, after the show is over, if you are on Facebook, if you are on LinkedIn, you definitely need to come over to YouTube, check out our Epic Spotlight channel, give us a thumbs up. Appreciate that. And share this with friends and family. I think this is great information. I'm kind of like Kanye West right here. I think, well, I got to be careful when I say that because I don't want people like to stop listening to us. But I think what we are doing is some good stuff. I really do. I really think this is information that everyone needs to have, and we need to share it amongst each other because this is stuff not being taught in schools. So I would definitely recommend that everyone make sure you share this with friends, family, and neighbors. Anyone that is thinking about real estate as an option, whether it's buying a property, the first-time home buyers, refinancing, and or investing. And we're going to have some investors coming on to the platform with us, having some conversation. So, be on the lookout for that. After this show is over, I definitely wanted you to check out the most recent Epic Spotlight podcast. It was with Deanna Marr. She's an occupational therapist and founder of Restorative Solutions in Palm Harbor, Florida. She helps expose the truth about pelvic floor dysfunction and why you don't have to live with it. This is for the women. This is for the ladies.
So I saw that that was the thing you did, and I meant to pat you on the back.
Man,
Um, yeah, I meant to pat you on the back for that one. I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but Good job. I'm pretty sure I shared that out on my socials.
Hey, it's a real thing, especially for those ladies that have had babies and have
Yep.
had some big babies, and I have firsthand experience, so I get it, I understand, and so man, I wanted to make sure I got with somebody, and as soon as she said what she did, I said, I need you on this show, I need you on this
Yeah.
platform, and she brought up, just some exercises and some tips and some things to know, so it's definitely worth a watch and a listen, and I appreciate that, Jess. See, I got your back. All right, so here we go. We'll kick off these questions here. You thought it was going to be a haiku, Cal, man. My fault. Next time, I promise I'll make it a high.
See, it wasn't just me.
It's basically, so what I do in the beginning, I try to write something, something thoughtful that's going to be a little bit of a teaser into what we're going to get into. But yeah, it was just straight writing. She thought I was rhyming. I was like, no,
I was
no,
looking
not
forward to
today.
it.
Just explains things clearly. So thank you for this.
I tried, Brandon. Thanks, man.
All right. What's the first thing to do after getting pre-approved?
First thing to do after getting pre-approved is send the letter to your realtor and say, "Hey, let's go shop." Um, and then there's some do's and don'ts throughout the process, which we'll talk about. But yeah, just start shopping now, because remember, your pre-approval letter is typically only good for 90 days, and that may sound like a long time in the beginning, but that time goes by very quickly. And if the pre-approval letter expires, we have to pull a new credit report. So if you've been pre-approved, you got that letter, start setting up your showings.
Yeah, it's like, let's go shopping. Let's go shopping. All right. And then we got,
Oh,
how
haha.
long does pre-approval usually stay valid? You just said
Yep, 90 days. And that
90
is
days. Well,
because
credit
of,
reports are good for 120 days.
yeah, depending.
Well,
Who's from
that's what I normally say.
I heard
120
you say
days is a
that
credit
last
report.
week. I heard you say
It's
that. I
true.
think it was last week, and I was like,
Yeah. I've
we need
closed
to
on the
align on that.
120th day.
I bet you have the kind of deals you do. I bet you have.
Man, whatever it
So
takes.
yeah, the pre-approval only expires because your credit report expires, right? So a lot can happen in 90 to 120 days.
So this is what I say. The credit reports are good for 120 days, 4 months, right? But lenders are going now, every lender is different. Some lenders are going to say, hey, I have to have a credit report that's been a newer credit report been pulled within the last 60 days.
Hmm.
So each lender has their own different requirements. The reason why it is 90 days is because I need at least 30 days to close you out,
Right.
right? To get the appraisal order, title, get everybody ready, and get the items closed. So I always say, hey, you got 90 days because I need those last 30 days to close the deal. After 90 days, we probably need to repull that credit, and see what it is. But, like to you're saying, sometimes when we have challenges, credit score challenges, because that's the worst thing if it takes you longer. That's why you really have to kind of once Jess said, once you go shopping, you kind of have to make it a second job. It's got to be a priority
It
because,
does take over.
oh man, you have to. Hey, I work my 9 to 5, and then I'm out there shopping. It's so important because you don't want to be that person that you're on the 120th day and you're a week away from closing, and I have to repull the credit.
Right.
And then now it's a rolling of the dice. Are
Yep.
you a 566 and now I can't do the deal, or are your score went up? And
Right. How
I've
many
been
letters
there.
of explanation do I have to write because you did something I
Woo!
told you not to do? Like,
Right.
yeah, actually, the my borrower today, as he's signing his papers, he's like, well, and he's a very successful sales guy. Like, I was genuinely impressed, right? Which takes a lot for me for salespeople. But he's signing his documents and he goes, I haven't worked since January. I'm glad this is over. I was like, dude, I bet you haven't worked since January. When I bought my first house, I didn't work for like 9 months.
Yeah. You got to be careful.
Next question.
Should we get reapproved if rates change?
No, not unless your credit report has expired. So, Essentially what you'll do, Richard, is just call your loan officer and say, hey, um, you know, there's been a change in the market. Can you rerun the numbers for me? Because your numbers will totally be different, but you don't need to go through having another credit pull. And if your loan officer is worth their salt, they're going to run the numbers and rerun your file through the underwriting system to be completely sure everything is still good to go.
Yeah. I think it deserves a phone call, right? I
Oh, for
mean,
sure.
yeah, because when rates drop, that means your purchasing power has increased.
Hmm.
So always recommend that you give a phone call to the loan officer. Hey, I saw that rates drop. What does that mean for me? But in general, you may not need a new pre-approval. We
Yeah,
don't need to rerun your credit or anything like that. Once we run your credit, that's the only time. I know there was a false, those urban legends that, oh, mortgage brokers, they run your credit multiple times. I heard that, over 20 years ago, and I'm like,
yeah, those are car salesmen,
yes, we're
right?
we're not
Like,
the car salesman.
no, we just need that's okay. So that's the beautiful thing about being a broker, right? So if you go to a bank or ABC lender, right? And when I say lender, I mean that's all they do is mortgages. That's it. No checking accounts, no CDs, no savings. All they do is mortgages. So you go to a bank or a lender, you are boxed in with to what they have, right? So let's say you go to lenders one, two, and bank three, right? And you're going to all these people separately.
Right.
That's three times, right? That's three credit pulls. But when you come to a broker, like me and Dante, we pull your credit report one time and then
Correct.
we can go shop 30 plus lenders for you.
Yeah, I mean, it really can be that simplistic.
It's such
You
a
know,
time saver too, because like you're usually on the like if you're going from start to finish, you could be on the phone with the loan officer for an hour. So if you're
correct.
shopping individual lenders and banks, that's over half your day.
Well, I mean, right now we're hovering about 50 different lenders, so it's like, you
Yeah,
know, t-
that I saw. We got so many options now.
yeah.
Good,
So it's
good job. I know you hate filling out those packets,
man,
so I
they
thank
still
you.
convergence. Fill out this report, and then you got to recertify every year. It's like, man, everything stayed the same. Oh, we
Yeah,
gotta know.
no,
We gotta know.
I appreciate you making sure that we have
Yeah.
options for every situation.
I mean, real talk though. I mean, obviously, I didn't like. I worked for a direct lender when I first got going.
As
And
did
when I
I.
so as a direct lender, you have the shoebox of these are
Hmm.
the only people you can help. And I couldn't stand someone come to me who wants to work with me, and I'd be like, "No, I don't have any programs that fit your specific situation." I just didn't like that concept. I was like, if I, have someone in front of me, I want to be able to help them. I don't care if they're 850 or if they're 495. I want to
Right.
try to find a way to help them. And so that's really been my whole premise as far as Epic goes, is making sure that, each loan officer has multiple options. So, there's not really too much that we cannot do. And I think that's so important.
That was the same thing for me. Like, it was easy to work at a lender. I've been there so I can float around lenders very easily, right? But
Right.
I want to actually help people,
Yeah.
right? And it's so much I can do so much better as a broker.
Correct. How do you decide the right offer price in a hot market?
Well, Jeffrey, um, that is where your realtor comes into play. That is why it is very important to have a good realtor, one that not only knows how to negotiate, but specifically for your question, someone who is realistic. That is a big thing. I've seen a lot of unrealistic offers over the last year. Um, and I'm a LO who checks value, right? So if I see something, right, I'm like, that house is never gonna praise for this. Like here's my data for it. Um, it's your realtor is gonna have to help you decide, right? But it's based on comps, um, and it's based on like how long that house has been on the market, right? So if let's just say, for example, arbitrary numbers, let's say a house is 250,000, but it's been on the market for 100 days. I'm not offering you 250,
Right.
right? And now I'm not going to insult you, but I'm also not offering you 250. But if you have a house that's, 250 and been on the market for 5 days, if we think it's gonna appraise for that, right? If you and your realtor feel like it's gonna appraise for it, just go with the asking price.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple grand under. But people do get insulted. Like when offers come in, people get in their feels because for them it's not just a transaction, right? It's their home. So they definitely have a lot of feelings about it
It's their home until it's not their home, right? And
until
it's,
it's not.
man, you know how much time I put into this, you know how much I worked, all the elbow grease here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, people are definitely emotionally attached until it's officially not theirs.
Yeah.
What makes an offer more attractive to sellers?
Okay. I think this is something that I think didn't you have this on a list of questions?
I did. This guy
Did.
took my took my question.
What number was it? Because I specifically I have a different view about this than apparently everyone. So if there are any if there are any realtors in the chat right now, throw in your answers. So Joe, obviously cash, right? Um, but no, I don't even understand why cash is king. Like I don't.
Cash is king because I don't have to wait on lending, right? The people have had bad experiences with lending per se.
Okay, I will give you that. But depending on like, is it under my mattress or do I have to pull it out of some kind of retirement account? Because that could take time too, you know?
Most most cash transactions, the realtor needs to verify the assets. So they need to be out of the mattress and into a bank account, verify the number, and they can move forward. Generally speaking, a cash deal is 1 to 2 weeks, right? And usually within 2 weeks, you pull title, make sure title's good, and then you can close it out. The only thing that I've ever heard shady with a cash deal is that cash deals that last week they tend to like change their price
Yep.
somehow, some
Yeah.
way. So if you're selling the house for 250, and then I'm going to pay cash, and then he'll come up and be like, "Hey, I only got 230. Take it or leave it."
Yeah. And see
And it's
that
like,
and
what?
right. So you still got a risk there.
There's the risk on a cash buyer, but more attractive. I mean, obviously that's a realtor question, but what we've seen is certain people waive the home inspection, right? Waiving a home
Which is
inspection, even though
crazy.
we would not recommend that, but it is something that people have done to entice the seller. They have said, "Hey, we'll pay the difference if the appraisal comes in low,"
Oh,
especially in a
I've
multiple
talked
bid
about that.
situation. So,
Yeah.
hey, property's going for 425. It's a multiple bid situation. Everyone's bidding with a higher number, and you say, "Here, I'll bid 440, and if it doesn't hit 440 on the appraisal, I'll still pay the difference."
Yeah.
That would be enticing.
One of the two realtors that I love working with the most, right? Red
Mhm.
Realtor, Sarah Redding of C Miles Realty. We closed this morning. Um, Sarah knows like my first question when the agreement is signed is there an appraisal guarantee? Please don't put an appraisal guarantee in there. Like I hate it. It makes me so nervous, especially if it's like if it's the value is on the border,
Sure.
right? I hate it. She usually talks me down. I let her talk me down, but it's not my favorite.
They got to do what they got to do to get that offer saying yes. Is it smart to waive contingencies right now?
If you're talking about like inspections, Michelle, um, the answer is always no. No. The only way I would say, okay, go ahead, is if you get one of those home warranties. And those only go so far and cover so much. There are a lot of options out there for them now. But though they only go so far. Because what you don't want to do is go into a house, right? Let's say it's maybe 20 years old, right? So that's newer in the world of houses. And you walk through and everything looks great. And you're like, no, I don't need an inspection. I want this house. I can't let it go. We're doing this. And then you move into the house and the foundation cracks,
Mm.
or there are tree roots in the pipes that a simple inspection could have caught. So it's too much unless you have the money to burn. It's too big of a risk. Um, Spend the $300, get the inspection, and then decide with that information what you're okay with moving forward with and what you're not.
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest expense of your life. Why would you put a risk that you don't even know what's going on?
I have a borrower that did that a couple years ago. And normally, when borrowers are going to put themselves in a position where it would be detrimental to their lives, I refuse to write the loan. But I will refer you to someone is good and that will write the loan, right? Because most people just want to make the check.
Right.
But this woman, she didn't want to work with anyone else, and I got it. Single mom, we had built some trust, a lot of trust. So I was like, okay, dude, we're I can't do anything if you waive this inspection. In the grand scheme of how much you're spending on a house, $300 for an inspection is nothing. She waived it. 6 months later,
Wow.
the basement flooded. And
Yeah, you hate
that
to hear that.
was 3 years ago, and the basement has not stopped flooding.
Yeah,
And it was because of stuff that could have been caught during the inspection.
sure. Yeah, it's a real risk. I mean, you get into this game where you want to win, and you get so focused on winning that you're willing to let go of things, and it's like you have to stay within, the parameters that a normal purchase transaction would give. Like you need these contingencies, you need to review, you need to know what you're walking into. This is
Right.
this is a big deal. This is not something we take lightly. This is the biggest expense for most people in their life. So it's definitely worth you paying attention to everything. Let's go through the home inspection. Is this something you want to do? And with the home inspection, it's funny too, because I always tell them, write up the wants. What would you want done, and what needs to be done? And they say, well,
Right.
what's the difference? Well, if it needs to be done, that means if they say no to that, you're walking.
Right.
So,
And
so, so tell me what needs to be done and what you would like to have done, because you don't know who the seller is and what they're capable of, because they have a choice, right? They either can say no, they could either say I'll give you a credit, or they can say I'm going to fix it. But I've always been a fan. I don't want you to fix it. Who is you, and
right, give
who are you
me a
gonna
credit.
get?
We
Right,
just went through that my one closing Friday. We this loan took forever because of the sellers, and there were 5 items they needed to fix. They fixed one, sorta.
right.
And like now we're at the end of the process. This rate is about to blow, and they're like, well, sorry, take it or leave it, and no, you can't have any concessions.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
bad business sometimes.
it is bad business.
Danny writes, "What happens if the appraisal comes in low?"
Well, Danny, if you have an appraisal guarantee written into your purchase agreement, then you fill the gap, right? So if the house is $100,000, but it only comes in at 80, the 20 comes out of your pocket. But if you do not have an appraisal guarantee written into the contract, that is when your realtor goes back to negotiate with the seller's realtor, which again, and I feel like I say this every week, that is why it is important to have a good realtor. The negotiation skills are the most important part.
I love it. When is the best time to lock in an interest rate?
Brandon, let me tell you a story. So,
Story time with Jess.
one of my clients, right? One of my borrowers, this is a refi, right? Okay, this is a $500,000 house. I can
Mm,
save them $500 a month.
there you go.
Significant, right? So we start this process last week on Thursday and say, hey man, here's where the rates are. Let's do it. This is the time for us to lock in. We don't know what's happening right now with our economy and what's going on in the world. So he sleeps on it Friday, right? And then Friday gets busy for him. He doesn't get back to me. Hey, dude, rates are a little bit better as far as pricing. So, we're still saving $500, but your closing costs are going to be a little lower than they were yesterday. Not significantly, but enough. Again, homie has to think about it. Calls me Monday. Jess, I'm ready. Well, we started a war over the weekend, so nothing I said last week is true anymore.
Mm,
Like, nothing. It's gone. Like,
yeah.
we're gonna have to wait for things to calm down and pricing to come back down again.
And that happens because we don't know what's going to happen each and every day. We can only tell you what the rates are today. Really have no foresight or anything, you know.
Especially right now. Like, don't
Man,
get me wrong, Brandon. Like, there was a time where we could predict the trends, right?
sure.
And feel pretty confident about them. We live in a little bit of a different world right now, right? Things are very different. So it's really hard to predict. This is the first time in 16 years that I do not feel confident about saying, hey, here's what I think the market is going to do. So I would say, to answer your question directly, the best time to lock in is when you can get the lowest cost. So that is about talking to your loan officer, um, and asking, like, hey, what did rates look like the last 2 days? Were there any significant jumps? If there weren't, you might be okay. Over a weekend, never though. Don't ever trust a weekend. Ever. Never, ever, ever.
You know, most of us
Nope.
we're not poker players. We're not gamblers. Let's just lock in. What we normally the best time to lock in is once you have a contract. Let's lock it in, and then we'll figure it out from there. And, it's just too much of these market timers, and then something like that happens. It goes the opposite direction. I mean, because if you, oh, let me think about it, and then all of a sudden Saturday and Sunday happen, and you're seeing your phone like, what we Iran, what's going on? And then
The
uh-oh.
first, I felt so horrible as a human because my first thought was, there goes the market. Like, you know, there,
True loan officer right there.
it was so involuntary.
But I thought, I said something yesterday to the one of the AEs. I said, I thought bad news is good news for us. Why is it going the wrong direction?
Why would you mess with them like that?
What
What
credit
credit
score
score?
changes could impact closing?
Any. Um, like
I
10
think
points.
he's going to base on I think he might the question might have been popped up when you and I were talking about, if the credit score you have to
Yeah.
repull it.
So even a small change, right? So let's say, all right, we're gonna do two scenarios. One, credit was pulled and for some reason we have to re-pull it, and let's say credit was pulled first time you had a 760. We re-pull credit and now you're at a 750. That 10 points is a significant pricing difference
Yeah.
because for credit there are buckets. There, so like think like 700 to 715, 715 to what is 715 to 7, that's not right. What's the 7 bucket? 740 to
700 to
760,
7 well, yeah. I mean, it's the 20s, so 700 to
20,
719, 720 to 739,
yeah.
740 to 759, 760 and up.
Yeah, so those make significant differences. And second scenario, let's say you have to have your credit repo for some reason, and your score didn't change too much, not enough to impact your pricing, but maybe you had a credit pull. Now that's a whole thing. Why was the credit pulled? What did you buy? What did you not buy? What were you attempting to buy? Did you open a new debt? Right? So if you opened a new debt, now we have to take that debt into account. If you didn't, now we have to write an explanation letter about why you had your credit pulled. So if it's at the end, in some lenders, it happens less often now, but some lenders will repull your credit at the end of the process just to make sure you didn't do anything crazy.
Generally, a soft pull at that time. It's
Yeah,
usually a soft pull. It's not a hard pull. A lot of people are nervous, like, "Oh, is my score?" It's like it's a soft pull, but we're making sure you didn't buy the car, you didn't buy the furniture before you bought the house. We're
right.
making sure that nothing has impacted you from a debt to income ratio standpoint because we're still monitoring all the way through. All right. Should we avoid making big purchases before closings?
Oh, Richard, with your good questions. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple do's and 10 do not. Okay, so continue to make all of your monthly payments on time. Get your documentation to your LO or your processor. Try within 24 hours. Pay all your credit cards, pay your debt, keep your money where it is. Don't change bank accounts. Don't move money around. Just leave it where it is and let your loan officer tell you what to do with it. The do nots. Don't quit your job. Don't change employers. If you are W 2'd, definitely do not become self employed. Just hold on for 30 days. Don't take out any additional debt. None. The rules say long term debt. Just for says no debt. You can wait 30 days. It'll be fine. Don't buy a car. Don't buy furniture. Just as Dante was saying, don't co-sign for anyone. Nothing. Right? The idea is for you not to make any significant financial decisions without first consulting us, because it's important to maintain financial stability. So essentially, your financial profile should look pretty much the exact same at the beginning and the end. So don't drain your savings. Don't make large deposits. Think of a large deposit as anything over, and it depends on the lender. Some lenders say it's over 500, other lenders say anything over your regular paycheck. Just don't do it. Call your loan officer first. Hey, my grandmother gave me $3,000. Cool. Leave it alone, right? Don't put it in there. A lot of don't have your credit pulled for any reason. And a lot of people will neglect their mortgage payment or their rent payment. Well, I didn't pay rent, because I thought this, or I didn't make my last mortgage payment. If you are buying a home and you already own one, right? You're moving out of it, you're selling it, and you don't make your mortgage payment, your deal is bust. You have to keep making your regular payments.
Yeah.
So no big purchases at all.
Awesome. Good information. What documents should we prepare ahead of time?
Ooh, I like that one. So, okay. Before you call when you're having the conversation, right? Expect for your loan officer to ask for your 2 most recent pay stubs. That does not mean you get to pick the bigger numbers. You can't give me one from this week and one from January. We need your 2 most recent pay stubs, your most recent bank statement, and expect for them to eventually ask for the bank statement for the month right before that, or the month after. It just kind of depends on where we land in the month. So you'll give them your most recent bank statement. Expect to have your credit pulled. If you have 401k, IRA, any kind of retirement account that you plan on pulling money from, make sure you have those statements, whether it's a quarterly or monthly statement, however often you get it. But if you're not necessarily planning on pulling money from it, have a good idea of how much is in there realistically. Be conservative. Let them know, and then you can get those statements later. Mr. Oyster.
My goodness. What's one thing buyers regret not knowing sooner?
Oh, there are a couple of things.
These are all up your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so what are hold on, because I have several answers for this. What do they regret not knowing sooner? Well, large deposits is definitely one thing. People don't know that they can't make those.
The cash to close. Cash to close
Yeah.
is always.
So, okay. They regret not knowing what the underwriter is going to find most important. So while some buyers focus on their credit score and their income, underwriters, especially now, are using AI assisted tools to look for patterns and behaviors rather than just numbers.
Mhm.
So like your Venmo and your Zelle, if those are showing up on your bank account, they're going to want a paper trail, right? They want a Venmo, Zelle, Cash App audit. Non-sufficient funds, right? So if you have let you've overdrawn, most people don't know, hey, that's definitely going to impact your approval. Declining trends. So let's say you have $20,000 today, but your bank statement show that you had $30,000 2 months ago and $40,000 a month before that. Well, you're trending down on your assets. So how fiscally responsible are you? So
Mm.
that's going to come into question, right? It 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 suggests that you're living beyond your means, or outspending your life. Well, really, it could have just been some kind of emergency, or maybe you had that plan for like tuition and you're paying it in increments, but the underwriter doesn't know that, right? Um, and then the other small one that keeps popping up is in what's being called employer genuine words are hard. I can't get it out. So essentially, you work remote, right? Let's say you're here in Michigan, but your paychecks say Illinois. They're gonna letter of explanation. Give your HR a heads up. Hey, I'm buying a house. They're gonna call to verify my employment. They're gonna need a letter that says I really do work remote.
There you go.
Genuineness. Boom, got it. Told myself that high five was from you.
Did you say, Mr. Royster, like I was sleeping?
No, bro, I can hear your phone.
Oh, okay.
Mad distracting.
I was trying to get. I was trying to see if it was making sure it was on LinkedIn.
It is. I shared it already.
Okay.
I watch all the streams.
Thank you.
I got you.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about that.
Mm-mm.
Okay, good. Appreciate the step-by-step guidance. Yeah, no problem,
You're
Joe.
very welcome. Clear, concise,
Clear,
pop.
concise.
That's what we're
Thank you,
here
Joni.
for.
Great energy and super informative. Well done. I think it was wrapping up. Yeah. Oh, thank you,
You
Rochelle.
do have good picks.
Man, I appreciate that.
You do. You do have good picks.
And this is exactly what I needed before a house hunting. Thanks. Well, we appreciate that, Rochelle. Hopefully, we were able to help you out on that and give you that information. That's awesome. And if you have any more questions, if we can help you out in any way, just let us know. Yeah, no, yeah, it's been a great week. 3 days in a row. I had Stephen Bardo on with me yesterday. That was a great conversation. Former
Nice.
Fighting Illini NBA player, and he was on, so that was great. And had Jude today, so yeah, things have been great.
It's been good. It's been good.
Contact
Um,
information, Jess.
wait, hold on. Time out.
Mm.
I want to go back to what uh buyers regret not knowing. Jeffrey, if they are self-employed, that's a whole thing. So, and you have to be very proactive about that. So, let's say you're a self-employed borrower. In most of us self-employed people, we want to write everything off. If you are self-employed, you have to plan 2 years in advance when it comes to purchasing a home. Because a lot of time we write everything off, it doesn't look like we made a bunch of money, right? So if we show $100,000 in revenue, but $80,000 in business expenses to the lender, you only made $20,000 that year.
Mm.
So self-employed people, you have to start planning 2 years in advance. And that means having a conversation with whoever does your taxes and let them know, hey, I'm planning to buy a house. I have to show that I made some money.
No doubt. No
Okay,
doubt.
that's it. Did you say contact information?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How can one reach
How can one
young
reach
Jess
me?
for?
Again, I'm gonna throw my link in the notes, but you guys can find me on socials. I am Googleable. Oh, I can say that, but I can say genuineness.
Genuineness.
Good grief. If you need to call or text, you can call or text questions, guys. I'm okay with that. 313-673-6108. But like I said, you can find me anywhere on the interwebs. And again, the link to all things Just Forward is in the chat.
Awesome sauce. If you need any listings, I always want to promote. We do have preferred listings that we're working with people on www.danteroyster.com. You can go right there, check out preferred listings. You can also look at a list of all the guests that I have been able to sit in front of and have a conversation. And this is all it is, conversations, whether we're talking about lifestyle, helping you buy a house, investing in real estate. It's different conversations, but it's all right here, all packed on Epic Spotlight. So appreciate everyone listening today. I think we had a world record of people listening. I think over 700 people were listening today. So really
Nice.
appreciate that.
And I see we got over 4,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Look at you,
Yes.
fancy pants.
Not playing around. On
Hey,
our way to 10,000. You got to do the
love
baby
it.
steps.
Love it.
Got to do the 10,000. But yeah, no, appreciate everyone. We'll be back. Actually, next week is a little different. I will be here on Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday and Friday. So I'll be Wednesday with Jess, and then I'll be on Friday with Ken G. So that will be interesting. And I do have to call you, Jess, because we got a new guest coming on the 18th.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
But hey, appreciate everyone. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Life is too short, so live it up and just continue to do your thing. I got to do my thing.
TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Oh, you keep that. Holla.